from England and those who remained loyal to the oppressive crown. Less than 100 years later, the nation would divide on the issue of slavery. That too was an issue of freedom versus oppression. And now, almost 150 years since the Emancipation Proclamation was signed, the country is still divided, not along racial lines, but philosophical lines. This division is not necessarily along party lines, and there has been a subtle shift in the political landscape because of the issue of moral values. The Black community in America historically has had at its core faith in God and strong moral values. So the political discussion on these issues is causing a schism in the Black community and shaking the foundations of political establishment. Blacks today are beginning to discover the historical differences in the political parties and are choosing to leave the liberal plantation and experience individuality without the establishment telling them how to think and who to vote for. What happens, though, when Blacks who have been captive to one political party choose to not only leave the plantation, but bring others with them?
When you leave the plantation, the white Democrat man hates you, and the rest of the blacks that are on the plantation hates you, and the blacks on the plantation then begin to call you an Uncle Tom. They say, "You Uncle Tom, nigger you, that's all you are."
I know that as a conservative Black woman, I've been called an Uncle Tom. I've been accused of being paid off by the Republicans, all kinds of things. And the things that are said by Dr. Rice or General Powell or Judge Thomas.
Your personhood is destroyed. You're called names, sellout, etc. You receive death threats like I do on a real regular basis.
Over the last 15 years, I've been called nigger, Uncle Tom, a sellout. I've had guns drawn on me. My telephone's been tapped.
Someone like me and running for the United States Senate, well, there's a part of Black radio that attacks me by name right now. Okay, calls me everything but a child of God, as they say.
Black activists on the right who try to escape the left's liberal plantation often are vilified and excoriated, not as being incorrect or having unfortunate views or having perhaps the wrong outlook on taxes or spending or whatever, but as not sufficiently Black, inauthentically Black, traitors to the race, and a lot of us have been called very, very ugly names. You are Black, therefore you must think this, and no, you may not think independently. I can think of nothing more bigoted than to look at someone and say, based on the color of your skin, this is what you have to think.
And anyone, any Black in our society that would disagree with the liberal left, that they then are ostracized, that they are used as an example to others to never ever speak out against liberalism.
You take the Clintons, you take the Dashells of the world, the Gores of the world, they're just as dangerous as a Jesse Jackson or Maxine Waters or Al Sharpton, because they still preach this soft bigotry of low expectations. They derive their power by having a minority base. They must make sure that Blacks remain forever victims. As long as they can do that, they can take this voting bloc, the high priest of Black, and take it to the plantation, the Democratic plantation, and say, look, every 4 years we deliver 95% of this vote to you, because they've conceded their power to us. We think for them, we decide for them, and whatever we say, if we say jump, they'll say how high. What do we have to show for giving you our power? How has our lives improved? What have you done to change the circumstances around me? It seems as though my life is the same, but yours is getting better and better. And they start questioning it, and the more they start questioning it, and the more they dig deeper, they realize, well, hey, if we're ever going to be a true power base in this country, we have to be a power base in both parties. We cannot allow either party to take us for granted or just to ignore us. And so why not vote Republican when I don't have anything to show for voting for you, giving you 95% of my vote? No longer are they listening to the masters of the plantation. They're beginning to break away, and that's why it seems to be this desperate move to paint all Republicans as racist. They realize that something is happening in this country. There's a paradigm shift.
The same forces that sought to enslave black Americans physically have succeeded in creating new plantations of poverty programs and government handouts. They serve to reduce intelligent, thoughtful people into helpless victims, dependent upon the state for their very existence.
Most of the problems that we see today in our inner cities are a direct result of this social engineering of the 60s, specifically because part of the means test, part of qualifications boil down to don't work, don't save, and don't get married. And with what we've done with government being the middleman, we don't even know what they need, so we cannot help them help themselves, because according to government, there's nothing more that they do need except us to pay for their home and send their kids to shoddy schools and give them a little bit of check every month with some food stamps. They set no goals for them at all. I used to live on welfare. One of the questions on the form during the 80s and all the way until we changed it in the 90s was, did anyone go back to school? And if you put yes, you were going to be penalized. This was a poverty program to ensure that they were going to stay in that state, and a whole bunch of bureaucrats were going to stay employed.
The welfare system has done exactly what slavery did to the black family. During slavery, they took the fathers out of the home, and you know, the mother was there to raise the children, and the master of the plantation, I guess, fed them. 40 years ago, the Democrats came in along with the civil rights leaders and said to black people, we're going to take care of you, but you can't have a father in the home. I remember this. You can't have a man in the home. And so they sold out. They took the man out of the home. The government became the daddy of the family.